Welcome to the presentation of Sage ACPAC Point of Sales, the EPOS system. Today I'm going to show you how ACPAC EPOS will help you manage your store so you always have the right merchandise at the right time and at the right price. The recording that you're about to see is meant to give you an overview of the standard features and functionality of this product. It is not intended to serve as the sole basis for your purchasing decision. Please consult with your solution provider to obtain more information on this product. If you do not have a solution provider, I will provide contact information at the end of the session. For this demonstration, I will first look at the configuration settings, then show how users will interact with the system on a daily basis. If you have more than one retail location, one of the challenges is administrating your point of sales across these locations. With Sage ACPAC EPOS, we provide a solution called Remote Administration that allows you to actually connect to all the locations via the web and perform administrative functions. These functions could be anything from resetting the password to creating a new user. So what I'm going to do is log on to my Remote Administration and explain some of the key functionalities to you. I'll need to log in with the user that has the security privileges to do this. Our point of sale solution is completely integrated with Sage ACPAC ERP and Pro ERP financials and operational modules. In this part of the presentation, I will focus on security. Under the User tab, I have the ability to set up an unlimited number of users inside the system. You can see here we have a user named Bill. EPOS is a multi-language environment, so you can actually see Bill is set to the English language. I can set up his password under his username, and underneath the username privilege, I can assign Bill to a user group. In this case, he's assigned to a store clerk. So if we have many store clerks, rather than configuring security settings for each individual user, we can assign them to a group and handle security in a group level. Under the registration area, I can assign Bill to a specific register. For example, I may want Bill to only conduct transactions from Register 1. We also have the Rights tab, which shows Bill's individual privileges. In this case, we've assigned Bill to a group. So down in the lower right-hand corner, I can see all the privileges for the group. Basically, Bill can only perform those tasks that he is being assigned privileges for. And if Bill tries to do a task outside his privilege, he will be prompted by the system to get a manager's override. While I'm still logged in as the administrator, I'll now take a look at the setting up my loyalty programs. With Sage ACPAC EPOS, we have the ability to deploy a customer loyalty points program. A loyalty program is an excellent way of giving back something to our customers to promote customers to regularly keep shopping with my business. Within the system, we can keep track of what we offer to collectors. Here I have some actual customers who have collected points with us. At the bottom, I can see the points accumulated by John Smith. John Smith currently has 20 points. John will continue to earn points every time he makes a purchase from my store. The import-export feature makes it easy for me to manage my customers' points in Excel. I can make changes in Excel and import them back into EPOS. Well, at this point, I'm not going to go through all the buttons, but underneath the loyalty points, I have the ability to collect points in two different ways. You can configure customers to collect points on a per-item basis, where each item gives the customer a certain number of points, or you can configure customers to earn points based on a customer spending level. The more the customer spends on purchases, the more points they will earn. The other way we can handle points is by the total amount accumulated at the bottom of a receipt. So for example, if the receipt was totaling $500, they can accumulate 20 points and so forth. For incremental purchases, you will earn additional points. Something else that we offer are gift cards. And today a lot of retailers offer gift cards and gift certificates. So this will be the next area I'll look at in Sage ACPAC EPOS. Tracking gift cards can have some challenges, such as being able to track the cards or certificates, amounts sold on each of them, knowing the amount of money left on the card, when was the last time the card was used, and when does the card expire or the certificate expire. All of this information is collected centrally and can be administered through a remote administrator of the Sage ACPAC EPOS system. The next area I want to look at is the configuration options. These options give you the flexibility to make configurations down to the register level. So you could have two registers with different attributes and interfaces if needed. The reason you have this flexibility in EPOS is because we know that everyone has different retail businesses and everyone uses point of sales differently. For example, a grocery store may have a checkout lane, but also have a deli counter with its own register. The checkout lane register and the deli counter register can have two completely different functions and can look completely different to the clerks who utilize them. Let me log on to the register setup and look at a couple of key areas in the register settings. Underneath the register setups, we have the ability to set up defaults that will make it easier for us to just log on and start selling right away. Some of the defaults I can set are setting up a default customer, setting up our drawer kit, our partner mode, our invoice mode, and the ability to log in online or offline to the system. I can also set up a default float against this register, and you'll notice that I have a float of $500, and yes, EPOS does have the capability of supporting multi-currency. EPOS also has a report setup area where I have the ability to set up unlimited amount of reports. Here I can configure a small register style receipt or an 8.5 by 11 invoice. I can even configure seasonal receipts that say Happy Holidays. On top of setting up as many different styles of receipt types, I also have the ability to specify how many copies I would like printed each time. Let's now look at credit cards. EPOS provides a credit card setup feature that helps eliminate errors when putting through a transaction with a wrong amount. Typically, most retailers would ring up the amount on their register and then run the credit card or the debit card through the credit card processing machine at the side of the till. This usually involves keying the total sales from the register into the credit card processing machine and waiting for the authorization. EPOS can be configured to remove this rekeying step. This is done by an optional commercial software package that will remove the need for rekeying or double swiping and therefore reduce the chances of errors. The Layout tab controls the look and feel of how the register's interface will look. I can make certain columns visible, change the width of a column, change to a different supported font and a different size font. I can really configure my EPOS to look and feel the way I need it. The Shortcut Keys option allows configuration of keyboard shortcuts to optimize the user's interface while interacting and conducting business on EPOS. So now once I've set up the layout, hardware, credit card validation, reporting, and the shortcut keys, I am ready to start processing transactions through EPOS. Alright, so I'm now ready to do some transactions as a cashier. I'll first log on to my register by selecting the register number and entering the username and password. In this case, I will log on as Bill. On the screen you will notice that the user has the ability to log in as training mode. This is an excellent feature that allows you to train your new staff without having to deal with transaction errors. This will allow users to practice before processing real transactions. Security can be set up to not allow users to access the training mode if needed. When your new staff is ready to go live, you can also set up manager overrides to prevent a new employee from making mistakes. After logging in, I can see the out-of-the-box layout of eTransact's register screen. This is how the product is shipped. EPOS comes with 4 standard layouts for the register screen that you can choose for your interface, or if needed you can design your own user interface. As an example of how different I can make my screen, I have taken a snapshot to show what a different screen might look like. So this is the exact same system, but it's a completely different interface for the user. This could be designed for simple operations with simple transactions, or perhaps it can utilize a touchscreen interface and might have a numeric keypad on the screen to the side. Now back to my initial screen. In the standard layout, I have the Customer Search tab, the Item Search tab, and the Layaway tab. There are also function buttons at the top that can do anything from maintaining petty cash to taking payments from an account customer. At the top right, I have options to reprint a receipt, cancel a current transaction, or log off the system. In the middle of the screen, I have my purchase list. Here's where all of the item transactions will appear as I ring them in for the customer's purchase. At the bottom left is the customer that I'm processing during this purchase. I've set up a default catch-all customer, customer 9999. This is used for all of my cash customers, and I can select another customer that I've set up, such as my customers on account. On the bottom right, I have my subtotal, the taxes I need to collect, and the purchase total with including taxes. When you are running EPOS, there are 2 modes for running EPOS, online processing and offline processing. Online processing is a real-time mode where every transaction is updated to the server individually. This provides up-to-the-minute reporting for all of my transaction analysis. The offline mode allows all transactions to be processed without having dedicated connection to the server, and all transactions can be posted to the server in a batch at a later time in the day. For this example, I'll run my system in offline mode, and I'll start off by performing a cash transaction. I'll create a couple of transactions locally on the register and then post them to the server later. Offline mode is a great option. You never know when your internet connection might go down or when the network might just go down. This ensures that you will continue to conduct business if this ever happens. There are a couple of ways to enter in an item. The most common method to getting items in is to scan the items using the barcode. Once I scan the item, it'll automatically be listed on the purchase list in the register. I'll scan one more item and it appears on the purchase list. When I'm done, I can finalize the sale. I can hit the key on the keyboard and it will take me to the finalization sales screen. There are a couple of things that get calculated on this screen. One is the commission calculations. If you have staff that earn commissions on sales, ePOS can track the commission for each sales staff, and commission splits can also be set up. At the right, I can see the total amount due. I can select from a different payment type. ePOS has the intelligence to automatically select the correct payment type. For example, if I swipe a Visa card. If the customer is going to pay cash, I can simply finalize the entire amount. My register will print a receipt, and for this demonstration, let's just take note of the transaction number 6 from register 1. To show you what the printed receipt looks like, I'll go to the main screen where I can just do a preview on the screen for you. At the top right of the screen, I can retrieve any transactions. I'll preview the last one that I just processed. This will open the receipt in the format that normally would be printed in. It opens it as a standard style ribbon printer receipt. Here I can have my company information, the transaction number, the transaction date, the salesperson, the item list, the list count, and so on. ePOS will allow just about any format for my receipt. I could have a customized ribbon style receipt, or an 8.5 by 11, or any other paper size receipt. The second transaction I want to do is a split sale. I'll check out a couple of items for my customer, and I'll also adjust the quantity of one of these items. My customer wants to buy 5 of the same item. I can hit a key on my keyboard to modify the item line, or I can go to the line item box and increase the quantity from 1 to 5. In this option, I have the ability to change the quantities, update the unit price, or even give a discount. I may have a policy that gives 5% discount when I'm selling an open box item. Now remember, I'm logged into the register as Bill, and when I add the discount to the transaction and try to finalize the sale, I'm prompted to get a manager's override. This is because Bill does not have the authority to give discounts. I will need to call the store manager over to approve this discount, and I can continue on with the customer's purchase. At this point, I've entered in 2 items for the customer's purchase and given them a 5% discount for the open box items. So my customer wants to pay for this, but he doesn't have all the cash to pay for this purchase. What he wants to do is give me a check for the rest. I'll enter in the $40 cash that the customer gives me. The system knows that the $40 is not the full amount due, so it's going to ask me if I want to do a split sale. I'll select yes, and then I'll select the check payment method. The customer writes a check for the remaining $42.60. I'll capture the check number for tracking, and then hit OK to complete the sale. It's just that easy. I could have also accepted a credit or a debit payment for this transaction. Now there are times when you have items that cannot be scanned. Items may not have a barcode, or maybe the scanner cannot read the barcode. There are 2 methods that I can use to enter in the item. The first is just type in the item number into the item box below and press enter. The second method is to search for the item number. If I don't know the item number, or the customer is inquiring about an item, I can search for it. At the item search screen, there are 2 search options. The first option allows me to search our inventory and find the item the customer wants. The customer wants a bulb. I'll search for the bulb by description, and I will set the search option to containing. I'll enter in the bulbs for the search, and then the system will list out any matching items that contain the word bulbs in the description. It returns 2 items that matches my search. I'll check off one of these bulbs to add to my purchase. The second option allows me to look up how many items I have in stock here in this location and all of my other store locations. If I am out of stock in this location and I have more than one store location, I can look for the inventory levels in my other stores and refer my customer to that other store location. To do this, I simply hit my magnifying glass button and show the entire inventory for this item for all of my store locations. At the bottom of the screen, you can see the store locations, quantities on sales order, and quantities on hand. This saves me a lot of time from calling the other locations before sending my customer over there. So now I found the item that I'm looking for, so I'll select that item and add it to my purchase list. I have one fluorescent desk lamp and one mini fluorescent bulb. At this point, I'll move through the finalization step to complete my sale. I'll select the payment method my customer wants to use. In this case, my customer is paying the whole purchase by cash. When I finish finalizing, I will get the sales order receipt for my customer and help the next customer in line. Now, every clerk or cashier has had the time when a customer has remembered to pick up an additional item after the sale has been entered into the register. Or maybe the customer just forgot their purse or wallet in the car and had to go out and get it. Instead of having other customers wait in line or have to clear out the entire sale and do it all over again, EPOS offers a suspend sale function. This will allow the cashier to save the transaction and continue with the next customer until the customer comes back. Then the cashier can simply retrieve that suspended transaction and add the additional item if needed and complete the sale. Now, just before I run through that suspended sale scenario, I also want to point out the barcode grouping feature. This feature allows me to scan in a barcode that I've created or enter in a promotional code. And what this does is allow me to tie multiples of different items together under one barcode. This is basically an item kit. If needed, I can override the quantities or price. This can be used for giving away promotional items when one item is purchased, or just simply grouping all of my items together to make it easier for a sale. Okay, so I'll go back to that suspended sale. The customer forgot an item and went back to get it. So I'm going to suspend the transaction until the customer comes back. So I don't forget who this is for, I'll add a comment to this transaction. For the comment, I'll add in man with the red hair and suspend it. This transaction is now saved to the side and I can continue to work with the next customer until that customer returns. Now when the customer returns, I can quickly pull up that suspended transaction and I have the option of finalizing and taking payment, or I can retrieve it back to my screen and add an additional item to that sale before I finalize it. I'll retrieve it and add an additional item. I am back to my purchase list screen where I can add that additional item. The customer wants to add a gift card that he had forgotten. To do this, I've set up an item called G-Card, which represents our gift cards. When scanned in, EPOS recognizes it as a gift card. EPOS could be configured to automatically generate numbers, or I can actually type it in. Or maybe I want to scan in a pre-barcoded number on a blank card. I'll confirm the card number and add in how much the card is worth. I'll add a $50 to the card and hit OK. So now that the customer has everything he needs, I can go ahead and finalize this sale. Now as I'm finalizing the sale, you'll notice that the loyalty point window has just popped up. I've configured loyalty points to give any points to customers who've spent more than $200 at my store. The customer can give me his loyalty card to scan in, or his ID, or maybe a phone number or his name. I can enter in his ID, see his loyalty point balance, and complete the sale. Alright, so we've looked at how I've processed sales for all of my walk-in customers. I'll now look at how EPOS processes sales for all my account customers. These are customers who purchase on account, layaway, or maybe get special pricing, such as contractors who purchase construction supplies. Since I need to track customer account information in my accounting system, EPOS has the integrated interface to ACPAC ERP Accounts Receivable module. Accounts Receivable will store all of my customer information like the address, phone number, name, credit limit, and any special pricing and more. At the customer search screen, I can search the customer in the same fashion as I've searched an item. I can search by customer names, by customer numbers, or the telephone number, and I can use the starting with or containing clause. I'll show you an example by looking for a customer whose last name begins with BL. After the search, it returns one customer match. I can also search by customer number to broaden the search. If I enter 1 and search by customer number, the search returns all of my customers that start with 1. To view the customer details, I just need to double-click on the customer record. Here I can see the customer ID, and I can see that this customer gets the wholesale price. By having this information integrated to the accounting system, the clerk never has to remember that Ronald Black gets the wholesale price. I can also see their credit limit at the bottom, their outstanding balance, and their available credit at the bottom. To get started, I'll select the customer Ronald Black. When selected, the customer name is displayed in the register screen. At this point, I can edit the customer profile if I have the appropriate user security. So if the customer's address or phone number changes, or I want to add their email address, I can make the changes on the register and update the customer record in the accounting system. If I have a new customer who wants to open an account with us, I also can create a new customer profile right at the register and have the new customer added to the accounting system. I can also set up an approval process, maybe put this profile on hold before it gets added to the accounting system. So now I'll scan in items for Mr. Ronald Black, a fluorescent desk lamp and a mini fluorescent bulb. Ronald Black wants to buy a 12-pack of lamps, so I need to make a change to the unit of measure. The integration to the accounting system gives me access to inventory controls unit of measure, price breaks, sales start date, and sales end date. I'll select the 12-pack of lamps, and because I don't have the security privileges to change the unit of measure, I'll need to get a manager's override. After scanning in all the items, I'll finalize the sale. Now the lamps that Mr. Ronald Black wants to order are special order items that I'll need to order from my vendor. Ronald Black does not want to pay for the entire product right now, but I will require him to make a partial payment so I can actually order the items from my vendor. Ronald Black decides to give me $100 as a deposit that I'll enter in and then select the layaway option. Oh, and you'll notice that the system won't let me proceed until I enter in the phone number. I need to capture at least the phone number so I have a contact number to call Mr. Ronald Black when the product comes in. When I continue with the layaway, it gives me a transaction ID and prints out a purchase receipt for the customer. Ronald Black still has a remaining balance of $460.41 when he comes in to pick up the order. At any given time, a customer can come in and make payments to their layaway items. On the layaway tab, I can search out our layaways in the system. I can look for the layaway the customer wants to pay, pull it up, and go ahead and finalize it or make a payment on it. So initially when I started doing transactions on my register, I mentioned I was working in offline mode, and the transactions and information I've entered are only stored locally on my register. What I need to do now is synchronize all of my entries in my register with the server and download any new updates from my server, such as pricing, customer information, and quantities. The synchronization can be done any time of the day, or I can schedule an automated process. To do this, I need to select the Process All Outstanding Transaction options from the File menu, and this will take all the transactions and post them up to the server and into the accounting system. This process also downloads any new updates to the register. The next customer I have in line wants to return an item. I can quickly look up the transaction order number, or if I've barcoded the printed receipt, I can scan it in. EPOS will retrieve the original order and list all the items that were purchased. The customer had purchased 1 lamp and a 5-pack of fluorescent bulbs. The customer wants to return the bulbs, so I'll mark it off to return the full pack of bulbs and finalize the transaction. EPOS pulls the original purchase amount for the bulbs and creates a credit memo. I can put it back on the customer's credit card, give them back cash, or credit back their account if purchased on account. I'll finalize the credit and it will create a credit note inside the system against the original order. EPOS will generate a transaction ID. The next customer I have in line wants to make a large purchase on account. I'll use Mr. Ronald Black for this demonstration. This customer is a contractor and wants to purchase fluorescent desk lamps and some light bulbs for an office renovation he's doing. He needs 10 lamps, which I'll put on account by selecting the on account payment type. As I'm finalizing the sale, the system prompts me to enter in the loyalty points number. I'll skip this for now. It now prompts me to ensure that I want to put this transaction on account, and I can add this charge to Mr. Ronald Black's account. Later on in the month, Ronald Block returns to the store to make a payment on account. I can pull up his account, choose the payment type, and enter in the amount he wants to pay. So at the register, I have the ability to receive payments as opposed to just being able to charge transactions. When a customer accumulates enough loyalty points, they have the ability to make purchases with those points. I can configure loyalty points to be available for all items or just some of the items in my store. The customer in line, John Smith, is purchasing 3 items and wants to know if he can redeem his points for any of these items. I can quickly look up the points balance and note that he has 30 points. I'll scan in the 3 items, and in my store, customers can only redeem points for certain items. At this point, I'll open the window to see if he has any items that can be purchased with points. The window shows the items in the purchase list that can be purchased with points, and it indicates how many points are required. I can now select the item he wants to pay with points and click OK. The system automatically zeroes out the amount for the particular product against the loyalty points and recalculates the total amount due. I can now complete the sale. John Smith could have wanted to use a gift card or a gift certificate to pay for his purchase. The difference between a gift card and a gift certificate is that the gift card can be used more than once, whereas a gift certificate is designed to be redeemed only once. If John Smith gave me a gift card, I can look up the available funds by opening up the gift card query window and typing in the card number, or better yet, scanning the card. I can see the funds available on the card before I use it as a form of payment. At this time, I'll look at some of the out-of-the-box reporting that comes with Sage Actdev POS. We have a number of standard reports that are available, and these reports can be tailored to fit your specific needs. The reports are created with Crystal reports, and they can be modified by anyone who's a Crystal report expert. Your Sage business partners will be able to make any of these changes and modifications for you. At the end of my shift, I will need to cash out my register. After I've uploaded all my transactions to the server, I can now cash out. To do this, I will select my cash out option from the File menu, and this opens the currency accounting window where I need to balance out my cash drawer. This screen shows me several different numbers: the actual float that I started with from my beginning of my shift, the actual cash transaction that I've done during my shift, and the overs and shorts, which is a $500 float that I started with, plus my cash transactions. The goal of the screen is to bring my overs and shorts amount down to 0. So let's start by counting the money in my cash drawer. I have 10 $100 bills, 4 $50 bills, 1 10, 2 quarters, 1 nickel, and 3 pennies. Not bad, my cash drawer balances. If I was over or short, I can enter in that amount in my counting system for tracking. I head to the next step where I now need to enter my currency types into a bag. You might have a combination of cash, checks, Visa, and MasterCard statements. All this can be put into a default bag number, or if you want to separate out the currency types, that's fine too. I now need to move to the next screen where I can print out a report to add to my cash bag. I'll go ahead and cash out and close the till, which will zero out my totals, and then I'll print out the cash out report. I can then take the cash and put it into the bag along with the cash out report and hand it over to my manager or put it into the safe drop box. And once I'm completed, the register is now ready for the next person. So what's next? If you would like to get more information on how this product can address your critical business issues, you can contact your local solution provider. If you do not know who your local solution provider is, and you're an existing Sage customer, then you can call 1-877-237-5786. If you are not currently using Sage software product, or you are a customer for Simply Accounting, then you can call 1-877-237-5790. On behalf of Sage Software, I'd like to thank you for previewing our products.